Hi everyone and welcome to Theme Park Worldwide, keeping you in the loop with all of the latest theme park and attraction news from all around the globe. In this video I'm going to be sharing details on two exciting projects planned for Chessington World of Adventures. Just a few weeks ago the park revealed two different sets of plans for two very different projects aimed at different target audiences, and you know what, I'm really excited to delve into these plans, share all the details and of course take a good detailed look at everything that's hopefully going to be coming to Chessington as part of these plans. So yes, this came out a few weeks ago. This has been the first opportunity I've had to be back here in the studio and record an update. We've had so much going on the past few weeks. I thought, you know what, I really want to look at these plans in detail and have a good think about what we could be seeing here, because there is certainly a lot to talk about with these two different projects. Now you've got Project Play, which is more aimed at the little ones, so we'll talk about that later on. But first, let's get straight in with Project Refresh, because this looks really exciting. Now this is set to be a retheme of Wild Asia. It opened back in 2010. It used to be Beano Land. Do you remember that? Comment down below with your memories from Beano Land. I used to absolutely love it. You had Dennis the Menace in the fountain and everything like that. That made its way out and we saw of course Wild Asia take its place. A really nice original theme created by Chessington and Merlin Magic Making, and they did a really good job actually. They brought in a new ride of course with Cobra. They rethemed some of the existing rides, moved the location of some things, and of course kept a lot of the existing buildings and infrastructure, but rethemed it all to fit in with this more darker theme of Wild Asia. And it's a great area of the park, but like I say, it is one of them where a lot of them buildings are old infrastructure now and are certainly in need of replacing, and that's a big part of what they've mentioned here in this document about the retheme of the area. Of course, along with that as well, you've also got the Explorer glamping site, which is some of the accommodation at Chessington. I've never actually stayed in these before, done the hotel many times, but never stayed at the glamping. That's located right behind Wild Asia at the moment. With these plans, it's to completely transform the whole of Wild Asia and actually expand the area as well into that of Explorer glamping to make it a much bigger area. And of course, when you take a look at these plans, it'll all make sense why they need to do that. So yeah, it's a bit of an overview of how the area looks at the moment. And this shows how they want to transform this area moving forwards. Now look at this, it's completely different. You can see all the different numbers there as well. So I'm just going to go through them numbers and talk about what we can see here. Starting off with, of course, what is the most exciting thing from Project Refresh, and that is a new roller coaster. It's good to see the past few years Chessington has started to think more about roller coasters. You know, the park's got some great dark rides and flat rides and other filler attractions, but they always kind of lacked in the roller coaster department. Of course, you've got the classic with Vampire, Dragon's Fury is good fun, and then some smaller rides such as Rattlesnake. But what they really needed was some bigger coasters. We saw that with World of Jumanji that opened last year and Mandrill Mayhem, which was a great fit for the park. And now already they're looking at their next coaster investment, which they're hoping to build in the area currently known as Wild Asia. So yeah, that's really interesting. I'll come on to the theme and what it's rumoured to be and that sort of thing a little bit later on. Purely speculation, so we'll save that until a little bit later in the video. So yeah, number one on there is the new coaster building. It's got a maximum height of 20 meters, but that's only in like one small section. There's another small area that I think goes up to 18 meters, but then most of the building is at 16 meters. So yeah, you can see the building's got a good size to it. Obviously, you can also see a section of track coming out of the building, kind of out over the pathway possibly, which looks fantastic. I mean, it's hard to tell exactly how high that track is that comes out of the building, but maybe you'll be able to walk under it. If not, maybe you'll kind of walk around it. But looking at this, it certainly seems like it's going to be a big statement piece as soon as you walk into the land, and you're going to see this track and hopefully walk under it, and maybe the ride entrance will be under there, and yeah, there's real statement as you make your way into this new land. But yeah, we'll come back onto the coaster in just a second. But yeah, that's what we can see there from the plans. Number 2 and 3 are new food and beverage and retail areas that are planned as part of this. Number 4 is a new play area of some form that they're hoping to build. Number 5 is a new indoor ride, probably going to be a smaller flat ride in that location. But I think that's quite interesting how it's mentioned about another new ride in addition to the coaster just here. And then this is also really interesting. Number 6 is, of course, Cobra. It was installed in 2010 as part of Wild Asia. It's a Zamperla disco and it's got the camelback in the middle. What they actually want to do here is that they're proposing to move it slightly to the left. So say you're looking at it head on from the entrance at the moment, which is under the camelback. It looks like they want to move it to the left to realign it to obviously make more room for the coaster show building and that section of track that's going to come out. Because obviously at the moment, you come into Wild Asia, you got the fountain just there, and then obviously part of Cobra. So yeah, they obviously want to move it to the left to create more space. So actually that'll move more up into the area where the glamping currently is. And that's why we're seeing an expansion of this area. So yeah, I just wanted to get that in there. So that's quite interesting. It looks like they're going to move the queue line off to the right hand side for what is currently called Cobra as well. And yeah, actually build a new entrance into the land underneath where the current entrance to Cobra is. So it's moving to the left, but then instead of having the entrance to the ride in that location, they would have a new entrance into the actual area from there. But obviously at the moment, you can also get round into Land of the Tiger to the left of Cobra. So I think that gives you a bit of an idea on the kind of placement for this, moving it to the left. And at the moment, you know where you walk around, you've got the birds on the left-hand side, and then you head round to Land of the Tiger. That would be the middle of the Zamperla disco, just there, based on what we can see here. So yeah, slightly moving it off to the left-hand side, just to create more space. Yeah, number 8 on there is like the main entrance portal into the land. Looks in a similar place to where the current entrance to Wild Asia is. And then 9 to 12 are just marking out some of the existing buildings in Land of the Tiger. So really interesting to see an overview of the area, because also it looks like we're going to be seeing the removal of 3 existing rides from that part of the park, which is quite interesting. Could we see them, you know, crop up in other areas? Could we see them relocated to other Merlin parks? Interesting to see, but I think we've got a bit of an idea where 1 or 2 of them might go, which we'll talk about later in the video. Let's get on to the main event then, which is this new indoor coaster. Like I say, a maximum height of 20 metres for the building. Massive show building for this coaster. And I've got to say, it's good to see Merlin looking more at indoor coasters, obviously with Project Horizon at Alton Towers. There's been actually, I just want to get this in there, there's been quite a lot of people saying, oh, you know, is this a cancellation of Project Horizon for Alton Towers? Based on information from some of our sources, this is definitely not a cancellation. This is not what, you know, Project Horizon moving from Alton Towers down to Chessington. Project Horizon is very much back on as far as I can hear at the moment. So I'll share that in another video because I've got a few updates to share on that. But that's what we know at the moment regarding this. So it's a completely separate project, not related to Horizon. And obviously with Horizon, we didn't see a big piece of track coming out of the building, you know, so it's a completely different project that we're looking at here compared to that at Alton Towers. But yeah, in terms of the coaster, straight away, you look at that building and you see a section of track coming out. And I think, of course, of Movie Park Germany and the studio tour there, that's an intimate multi-dimension coaster, family coaster. It's got launches, it's got drops, it's got all sorts of funky theming elements mixed in. It will be a great fit for Chessington. Obviously, it's quite high capacity as well. It can run multiple trains, which is what they need, especially after opening Mandrill Mayhem and it only having the 1 train. I think something with multiple trains is definitely needed with this new coaster, especially if they're going with an IP, which I'll talk about in just a few moments' time. But yeah, you look at that, you know, there's so much potential with the building. The fact it's got different levels makes you think there could be a lift in there still. There could be spikes, maybe Uncharted level at Portaventura. We could be seeing something along those lines. There's all sorts it could be, but straight away I look at that and that's what I think. You know, I think it could be an interim project. There's nothing mentioned about that in the plans. It's purely speculation, but looking at that, that is what I am seeing. Now, obviously, that would mean a lot of dark ride show scenes. Could have maybe a drop track in there like 13. There's all sorts Intamin can do with their rides. And an indoor coaster's got a lot of potential. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But looking at it, that seems like what it could be. If not, definitely a mostly indoor coaster. We don't know the layout of the ride inside. We don't know the location of the station in the building or anything like that. All we can see is the building, where it's going in the land, and also that outdoor section of track. So let me know your thoughts on that, comment down below. There's been some rumours and speculation about Minecraft coming to Chessington. There's been no evidence to back this up yet, but it would certainly make sense. It seems like Chessington are more wanting to go down the intellectual property route, the IPs. We've seen that with Jumanji, we've seen it with other projects, so it wouldn't surprise me if that is the route they're going to go down. And you look at the plans for the building, obviously, you know, this isn't a detailed plan yet for what they're going to do in terms of the theming, but you look at it, it's very boxy, isn't it? It's very shapes and looks like blocks from Minecraft. So would that add up to the rumours? It certainly would. And the fact they want to make the land bigger, Minecraft is a big thing, isn't it? It's massive. And as much as I've never really played it myself, I'm aware how big it is, how popular this could be. So bringing in Minecraft, you know, they're making the area bigger. They're thinking, you know, this is going to be busy. A massive high capacity coaster, keeping a couple of attractions, adding a new one in, and making the land probably, you know, another half of what it is now, expanding it into the glamping site. So Minecraft could be on the cards here. Minecraft coaster. How does that make you feel? I mean, for me, obviously, you know, I'm happy to have another coaster coming to Chessington. I will miss the fact that, you know, they're going away from the animal and original theme. It seems like it's more going to be a world of adventures of different things now, instead of taking you around the world to these different locations and mixing it in with the animal experiences. So yeah, you know, it's really interesting the fact that, you know, they could be looking down at another IP for this one, but they've got Gruffalo, they've got Jumanji, we're seeing it quite a lot now, but then they did put in Crop Drop a few years ago, so, you know, it could be anything, but at this early stage, it's just speculation on the theme for this one. But in terms of the coaster, exciting, another indoor coaster in the UK. It means we could have two opening within, you know, a couple of years at Alton Towers and Chessington, which I'm certainly happy to see. With our climate over here, it's definitely what we need. So that's all from Project Refresh that we know. Very exciting. And of course, we'll keep you updated with all the latest here on Theme Park Worldwide. But yeah, it certainly looks to me like we could be seeing possibly an Intamin family coaster with some great theming, hopefully. I mean, if it is Minecraft, you imagine all the blocks and everything, you know, it could look amazing. It could be done to a really good standards. And we'll find out the details very soon on that project and keep you updated as always. Right then, let's move on to Project Play. This is a much smaller project than Refresh, but still just as important, because of course there's a ride that's been standing but not operating, SBNO, for a few years now, and that is Scorpion Express. It's a Mack Rides powered coaster. Used to be a runaway train, then they ripped all the rockwork theming out and everything, scaled it right back, and then did a very light re-theme on it a number of years ago now. Never quite looked the same in my opinion, but obviously now the ride system is very old. It didn't get replaced, you know, not much work was done to the ride system as far as we're aware. It was more theming when they changed it into Scorpion Express. It's now very tired. There was a fire that happened on there as well, which certainly didn't help, and the park have had to make a decision what they want to do. Looks like that's going to be removed, but also they're going to be kind of eaten into a little bit of Mexicana. Not all of it, because Rattlesnake doesn't look like it's been affected with these plans, but expanded a bit more down to where the children's zoo is, just behind the trees. So clearing that area and actually having a new area created there. So it would be interesting to see if they kept the main kind of Mexicana street where you walk down, you got Rattlesnake, a few of the buildings, and this is more behind it and down at Scorpion. That's how it looks to me from this. But of course we could see Rattlesnake rethemed as well, but it doesn't look like that's going to be changed initially from what we can see here. Now, with Project Play, it's going to be aimed at the little ones. Thinking more kind of, you know, Peppa Pig down at Poulton, Sea Beavers at Alton Towers. That's what we're looking at here. Aimed at the little ones. Possibly a new junior coaster is mentioned. Some new flat rides. And that's where it comes in from the other flat rides. Maybe, especially at the little jungle bus, that could be relocated down there, because that was only replaced a few years ago, actually. You know, maybe the Dodgems as well. Could that be relocated down there? Monkey Swinger? They could be. Or they could go to another Merlin park. But maybe Jungle Bus, I could see that possibly making its way down there with some new flat rides. Maybe things like, you know, Postman Pat at Alton Towers, like a new tracked ride or something like that. But then you have got Jungle Rangers, you know, so there's all sorts of potential with this. They haven't really said much. There's no detailed layout or anything like we've seen with Wild Asia. It's more just, you know, putting out them initial plans. But still, you know, exciting to see investment coming to Chessington. This is on top of other projects that have been mentioned as well, such as the water park plans a couple of years ago. That's still ongoing, doing some works to the car parks and various other things, the lodges that were planned. So yeah, there's a lot happening at Chessington. So yeah, we'll see what happens moving forwards. What would you like to see as an IP for this new children's area? I'd be interested to know your thoughts on that. Obviously, you know, a lot of you out there are probably parents and watch a lot of like kids TV and stuff. So what do you think would work for that? You know, could we see like, you know, a full dedicated theme to? I doubt it'd be another CBeebies land because that's been done at Alton Towers. But you know, maybe picking, you know, a different IP or something to go into that land. But yeah, really exciting to see what's going to happen, especially with the new coaster. We'll keep you updated with all the latest. I'll be following it very closely here on the channel and look forward to seeing what happens as always. But let me know your thoughts on all these different projects down below in the video comments. I've got a few other news updates coming up in the next week or so, lots to talk about, including an update on Universal UK, a brand new water park that has just broke ground by the Trafford Centre in Manchester, and also as well Project Horizon at Alton Towers. Bit of an update on that in terms of where we are. But that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.